All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to fundamentally shift how you think about AI coding agents. Look, if you've been experimenting with AI tools in your day-to-day engineering workflows, you have absolutely experienced the roller coaster. You know what I'm talking about. Those incredible, mind-blowing highs, followed almost immediately by incredibly frustrating lows. Well, in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why that happens. And much more importantly, we're going to fix it by introducing a concept called context engineering. Honestly, it's the absolute secret to getting today's AI models to actually solve truly hard problems in complex, messy codebases. So let's get into it.
So here is the million-dollar question, right? Why do these coding agents completely fall apart in complex code bases? I mean, if you've ever tried unleashing an AI agent on some massive 10-year-old legacy system, you've probably wanted to pull your hair out. The agent gets lost, it breaks things that were working perfectly fine yesterday, and it just confidently hallucinates entirely wrong architectural approaches. First off, it's kind of validating to know that you aren't the only one experiencing this. The failure isn't your fault, and it isn't because the AI is useless. It's actually because the way we instinctively interact with these agents is fundamentally at odds with how they process complex information. And hey, the data absolutely backs up this frustration. A recent survey asked over 100,000 developers across all company sizes about this exact issue, and the finding was pretty stark. It turns out most of the time you use AI for software engineering, you just end up doing a massive amount of rework. You're creating a ton of code-based churn. Sure, you might technically be shipping a higher volume of code, but a massive percentage of that volume is literally just you going back and fixing the broken code the AI shipped last week. It's this vicious cycle of naive AI usage, and it's quietly generating an absolute mountain of technical debt. Which brings us to a super important piece of shared vocabulary we're going to use today. Slop. Slop is exactly that AI-generated rework. It's the tech debt, it's the bad code that completely pollutes complex systems. When you use AI improperly in a massive codebase, you aren't building a clean product anymore, you're building a tech debt factory. Pumping out slop doesn't just waste tokens and compute power, it wastes the absolute most valuable resource you have, which is your senior engineer's time. Because let's face it, they're the ones who inevitably have to go in and clean up the mess. Now, thinking about this divide perfectly explains where AI tools naturally shine versus where they just totally fall apart. Think about greenfield projects for a second. If you're spinning up a simple, brand new Vercel dashboard from scratch, AI is going to feel like pure magic. It works flawlessly because there's zero existing complexity to navigate. But then, take that exact same AI and drop it into a brownfield project, say a 10-year-old Java code base with deep, undocumented interdependencies. Suddenly, boom, it transforms into that tech debt factory we just talked about. Recognizing this fundamental difference is step one to changing your entire approach. So, how do most developers actually handle these brownfield projects right now? Well, they use what we can call the naive loop. It's basically 4 steps. Step 1, you prompt the AI to do something. Step 2, it does it wrong, so you kind of yell at it, re-steer it, and tell it to fix it. Step 3, it messes up again, you yell even louder, and eventually, you just run out of context space. Step 4, you give up. Or, you cry. We instinctively treat the large language model like it's a human junior developer sitting next to us that we can just actively course correct on the fly. But as we're about to see, that specific trajectory basically guarantees a terrible outcome. The actual technical reality of why that naive loop fails so spectacularly is because LLMs are stateless. Okay, they aren't pure functions because they're non-deterministic, but they literally have zero memory outside of your current active session. The only thing that influences the very next output token the AI generates is exactly what is currently sitting in the context window. So think about it. If your context window is full of you yelling at the AI doing something wrong, and you yelling again, the AI looks at that pattern and assumes the next logical step is to output more wrong code so you can yell at it again. You are actively polluting the only thing it uses to think. Now, what's really fascinating here is this specific threshold, right around 40%. You might be sitting there thinking, well, models have massive context windows now, like hundreds of thousands of tokens. I'll just dump my entire code base in there and let it figure it out. But research shows that at exactly that 40% mark of filling an LLM's context window, depending on how complex the task is, you hit a brutal wall of diminishing returns. The more of that context window you fill past this point, the worse, less reliable, and way more erratic your outcomes are going to be.
Welcome to the dumb zone. This is that bloated, incredibly noisy portion of an LLM's context window, and it is the exact trap that catches almost everyone. If you're using automated tools that just lazily dump massive JSON logs, hundreds of file paths, and endless debugging outputs straight into the prompt, you're literally forcing the AI to do all of its reasoning deep inside the dumb zone. It loses the thread, it forgets its original instructions, and it starts hallucinating code like crazy. If you want good results, you absolutely have to ruthlessly protect the agent from ever entering this zone. So here is the crucial mental shift: intentional context compaction. Instead of seeing just how much information you can shove into a prompt, your goal needs to be figuring out how aggressively you can compress truth and intent. Whether your agent is on the right track or the completely wrong track, you have to regularly stop, ask the agent to compress everything it has learned into a super succinct markdown file, clear the context window entirely, and then start a fresh session using only that highly compressed summary. You've got to keep the AI squarely in the smart zone. But what exactly does this intentional compaction look like in practice? Well, it's really about distilling all that noise down to the absolute bare essentials. You don't want to feed it the whole folder. You want the exact files that matter. Actually, scratch that. You don't even want the whole file if you can avoid it. You want the specific line numbers. You want a compressed understanding of the code flow, and you only want the highly relevant snippets of test and build outputs. It's about handing the AI a laser-focused snapshot of reality, completely free of any useless metadata. Okay, let's talk about subagents for a second, because this perfectly builds on the idea of compaction. There's this massive misconception in the industry right now where people love to anthropomorphize subagents. They try to spin up a front-end agent, a QA agent, a data scientist agent. Honestly, that's the wrong approach. The true value of a subagent is purely for controlling context. You use a subagent to fork out a brand new, totally blank context window. Send it deep into the codebase to read massive files or search for dependencies, and then, and this is the key part, it returns a highly compressed, succinct message back to the parent agent. And this leads us to a really profound and honestly kind of funny truth about software engineering. Where exactly do the lies live in your codebase? What's taking up useless space in a context window? More often than not, it's your documentation. If you think about the amount of lies in a codebase, the actual source code has very few lies. It is the functional truth. Code comments, they have a medium amount of lies because, they get outdated. But static, global documentation, it is completely off the charts with lies and outdated information. This is exactly why you cannot just feed an agent a massive wiki page. You have to force the agent to do on-demand research in the actual code to compress the real, current truth. So, how do we practically execute all of this on a daily basis? Enter the tactical workflow: research, plan, implement, or RPI for short. This is the practical framework for applying that intentional context compaction we've been talking about. It forces you to break your interaction with the AI into 3 distinct, highly disciplined phases. And by doing this, you're guaranteeing that the context window stays small, clean, and entirely focused on the specific subtask at hand. You are safely avoiding the dumb zone at every single step of the process. Let's break those 3 steps down real quick. Step 1 is research. This is where the AI explores the system, reads the actual functional code, and finds the right files, totally objectively. Then you clear the context. Step 2 is plan. You take that research and outline the exact steps, compressing your intent into a tight, clean markdown file. Then you clear the context again. Step 3 is implement. You feed that perfectly compressed plan back to the AI so it can execute the actual code changes. You're constantly resetting, keeping that window incredibly small and focused. Now, the absolute most vital part of that entire workflow is the anatomy of a perfect plan. A good plan does not just say something vague like, update the database logic. No way. It outlines the exact steps, it lists the precise file names, it includes actual line snippets of the code that needs to be changed, and it features explicit terminal commands for exactly how to test it afterward. When you craft a plan that is this densely compacted and this precise, honestly, even the least capable model on the market is going to seriously struggle to screw it up. If you're sitting there wondering if this disciplined, step-by-step compaction method actually scales to real-world massive problems, consider this number: 35,000. Using this exact research, plan, and implement workflow, developers were able to sit down with a massive 300,000-line Brownfield Rust codebase, which is a deeply complex environment, and they shipped 35,000 lines of functional code in just 7 hours. To put that into perspective, that is work that would traditionally take an entire engineering team 1 to 2 solid weeks, condensed into a single Saturday.
and they did it entirely without generating slop.
But there's a really critical human element to this workflow too, and it's called mental alignment. Look, if AI is suddenly writing thousands of lines of code a day, doing traditional code review becomes mathematically impossible for senior developers to keep up with. You just cannot expect a human to read 1,000 lines of raw AI code every afternoon. But with context engineering, you don't have to. You maintain mental alignment across your entire team by reviewing the succinct markdown plans before the implementation step even happens. Reading a tight plan keeps your technical leaders completely synced on exactly how and why the code base is evolving without totally drowning them in raw syntax. Just a quick warning though, you really need to beware of semantic diffusion. Right now, the industry is throwing around all sorts of terms like spec-driven development. But just like the word agent, the term is becoming semantically diffused. It basically means 100 different things to 100 different people right now. Some people think it just means writing a slightly longer prompt. Don't get lost in the hyped-up terminology. Forget the buzzwords and stay relentlessly focused on the actual rigorous discipline of what works. Researching truth, planning intent, and intentionally compacting context. Because ultimately, this idea perfectly captures the core philosophy of context engineering. AI cannot replace thinking. It can only amplify the thinking you have done, or the lack of thinking you have done. If you try to outsource your critical thinking and you skip that vital research phase, a bad piece of research is just going to create a fundamentally flawed plan. And that flawed plan, it acts as a massive multiplier, eagerly generating hundreds of lines of terrible, slop-filled code. You, the human in the loop, are there to verify the research and validate the plan. That is your high-leverage thinking. Which leads us to a final, really provocative thought, something every technical leader needs to seriously start considering. The coding agents themselves, they are going to be commoditized, but the workflow definitely won't be. Right now, we're seeing this massive rift growing where mid-level engineers are using those naive AI loops to pump out mountains of slop, and senior engineers are just completely burning out trying to clean it all up. So the question is, how will you adapt your team's culture and your workflow to a world where 99% of your code is shipped by AI? Embracing context engineering and this discipline of intentional compaction isn't just some neat trick to try out. It's absolutely going to be the essential survival skill for the future of software development. Think about how you can start implementing this discipline on your team today.